check on X county and see if those numbers were accurate. And we can do those things throughout. So there may be, a minute or two delay in from the time we get the phone call to the time they go up on the big board. But that's to ensure that those numbers are accurate before they're delivered out to the media. But again, on our side, there is one difference. Is that our results will come in. It's the first thing we do in our precincts is have this vote, and so our results will be coming in rather quickly. You'll be declaring a winner in perhaps an hour or less. So to get those right in that frantic period of time is essential for us.
Some of the candidates have strategically decided to pretty much skip Iowa. You've got Giuliani, that hasn't spent very much time on the stage. Even McCain, a lot of people think is sort of not campaign here very much. Is it a strategy that is troubling as you see some of the candidates do that?
Well, no, Iowa's been skipped before, and I don't mean skipped like they ran commercials, made some prints. I mean skipped altogether, and none of them were successful in their attempt to become the nominee, let alone president. Iowa picks three on both sides of the aisle. I think our history shows that there's the three tickets out, and those are the key spots, and none of that is over with. You have to, I think maybe there's a slight difference between the Democrats and Republicans in that the Republicans seem to have a more multi-state strategy, where the Democrats have congregated in Iowa. They maybe to emulate John Kerry in 2004, the first time we had this front-loaded process.
But if that strategy works, what's that do to Iowa? The strategy is skipping this and going to some other states.
Well, if it works, I mean that's to be determined yet. But right, but I don't know necessarily that you can call it skipping when there's active staff on the ground, dozens and dozens and dozens of campaign staffers for each of those campaigns that you mentioned. Ads on TV, my mailbox doesn't get a sense that anybody's being skipped.
That's true, but Iowans expect to see these guys face to face, and that's the whole point.
True.
To see the candidate, not a staffer.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what we'll see on January 3rd if that strategy works, and then beyond. After if we find out who the nominee is on February 5th or March 5th, whenever it occurs. That strategy will be vetted. Did Iowa propel X or did it cripple?
Is that something you're going to look at very carefully?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we watch it, but we can't control the campaign strategies. But we've, both sides have we've opened up our houses, let alone our corner cafes and our event halls for these candidates to come in. I can recall in 2000, the last time the Republicans went through, it wasn't necessarily a joke, but it was any of the 80-some thousand that voted that year would be hard-pressed not to have actually met more than once the candidate they ended up voting for. I mean, so you're right, it's a very crucial difference between a primary and a caucus, that they get a sense of who they are, the candidate, look them in the eye, shake their hand, and get to ask those questions. So that's I think what you see in the current polling in Iowa.
Well, Chuck, isn't there a fear though about a marginalization though, that if you have somebody like Giuliani or McCain, that they can instantly say, well, we didn't fully invest in that in Iowa, and so people should dismiss that because we're focused on these other states.
Fully invest. I mean, it has been a tremendous amount of time and effort put forth with the candidate that you're using as an example. I wouldn't consider that skipping.
I'm not saying skipping, but certainly, when the guy's only been here,
and remember
16
too,
times.
I mentioned it a little bit. I kind of glossed over it. Is that the Democrats have gone through a front-loaded process before. This is the first time the Republicans have, and so maybe the tactics haven't caught up with the technology, so that's certainly one of the different dynamics. The conventional wisdoms are kind of out the window in regard to what a bump in Iowa means. personally, I think it means more than it used to. But then again, we got to wait and watch this thing play out. But I don't think Michigan is, 10 days after us. What's the latest polling in Michigan? Well, they haven't done any. So it's all about Iowa and New Hampshire that follows, and those are the, together with New Hampshire, we moved to stay first in the nation and hold our responsibilities.
Sure.
I was just going to ask how you guys formulated the logo and how you decided, the donkey's going to be on the left. I guess that's maybe self-explanatory.
Perhaps.
I mean, did you have someone on staff, or did you hire someone to do it, or were there any rejected logos that?
Both of us are working with Screenscapes here in actually West Des Moines, and they're helping us out with the production of the caucuses. And our staff, worked with Screenscapes to put this together. And yes, there were a couple different options, and we worked together to choose this one. Any other questions?
Did you do anything like this last time? You remember?
Not to this extent.
A joint logo?
No, not that I'm aware of.
No, it's several election cycles where it's just been one party that had the open race.
This is the first time that there's been a joint logo?
I would say so,
In
yes.
recent memory, anyway?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
There's talk that this is going to be like a record attendance. Is there any kind of, I know it's kind of hard to put a number to it, is there kind of any estimate what you guys are looking at for caucus attendance?
Well, on our side, we're just looking to be at our normal levels. But you're right, we really don't, we aren't polling and we aren't out, but we are getting a sense that since it's been 8 years on the Republican side, we're getting a lot of new people. Our caucus trainings have been overflowing with folks. They haven't attended a caucus before, and so they're finding out there isn't much of a trick to it. Must be present to win. So we get a sense there that our numbers are going to be okay as far as turnout goes. And remember, it's important for us with turnout because it's our party building exercise. This is where our platform starts to be built. We find our officers, the people that are actually going to work those precincts in the next election. So turnout is important. We're getting a sense that we're getting a lot of new people in.
I think we'll have an excellent caucus turnout.
I've heard that about 7% of Iowans actually turn out for caucus.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
7% of Iowans turn out for caucus. What's your reaction to that number? That percentage?
No, I think that's accurate. That's been the history. And like I said, it's a party building. The people that show up are those that are charged with building our platform, working those precincts on election day, and so it's heavy lifting and it's a heavy responsibility. And I guess that there's some that maybe aren't comfortable meeting with their friends and discussing why X should be the next president of the United States, but once they've been to a caucus, you get a lot of repeat visits because it's not a difficult thing at all. It's very simple and straightforward. You can write the candidate's name on a piece of paper, and you can help choose who the next president of the United States will be.